My wife went on a half-year business trip with her boss. She actually came back pregnant. Facing my furious questioning, my wife just laughed and said, "I'm doing this for my career. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being useless. Even if I had a kid with you, you couldn't even afford to raise it." My wife offered me 2 million yuan to get a divorce. I just tossed the 2 million away without a second thought. Liu Ruyan, don't you regret this later? The day my wife came back from her business trip, I ordered a huge bouquet of Juliet roses from the florist and rushed to the airport because the project that Liu Ruyan just secured for our company has super high profit margins. Lots of other executives were also waiting at the airport. My legs went numb from standing so long before I spotted a sharp, neat trench coat come into my view. I waved as hard as I could and yelled my wife's name out loud. But the second our eyes met, my smile froze on my face. We hadn't seen each other for 6 months. Liu Ruyan still had that sharp, capable look on her face. But when my eyes drifted down, I saw that her belly was already swollen. The executive standing next to me went dead silent instantly, and all turned to look at me. "Honey, you..." Before I could finish my sentence, our company's general manager, Chao Zhenlang, stepped forward from behind Liu Ruyan. He wrapped an arm around her shoulder intimately and spoke gently. "Are you still feeling nauseous? I bought some sour plums for you." Sour plums for nausea. I looked at Liu Ruyan in disbelief. What is going on here? Chao Zhenlang shrugged helplessly. "He Chang, you see it too. Liu Ruyan is over 5 months pregnant. She's really not feeling well. Liu Ruyan was on a business trip for 6 months and is 5 months pregnant." Chao Zhenlang was making it obvious to everyone that my wife had cheated on me and was carrying another man's child. Then I heard his cheerful voice next to my ear. "What are you standing there for? Come over and congratulate Vice President Liu already. The profit from this project is equal to our company's total revenue for half a year." All the other executives swarmed forward. I got bumped by someone. Liu Ruyan was surrounded by people congratulating her. The roses in my hand fell to the ground and got trampled into mush instantly. Someone suddenly suggested, "Let's throw a welcome dinner for Vice President Liu tonight." But Liu Ruyan turned it down. "Sorry, everyone. The trip was exhausting. I'm really tired. Plus, the baby in my belly needs to rest too. I'll head home first." Hearing that, a tiny spark of hope rose in me. She hadn't forgotten, after all, that today was our 5th wedding anniversary. But the next second, she walked up to me and paused for a second. "Hee-Chang, you go home first. When I'm feeling better in a couple days, I'll have a proper talk with you about us." Then Liu Ruyan got into Chao Zhenlang's Maybach and didn't even glance at me again. I felt a dull ache deep in my chest. I stared blankly at the messy petals on the ground. The 3 words Vice President Liu pricked at me sharply. Liu Ruyan got promoted again. Ever since she joined the company, she's been promoted way faster than me. Team Leader Liu, Supervisor Liu, Director Liu, and now Vice President. I watched the gap between us grow wider and wider, until this very moment. She's pregnant again. I still remember a year ago, when Liu Ruyan found out she was pregnant. She was super furious. She grabbed my collar tight and questioned me. "Hee-Chang, you skipped protection on purpose, didn't you? Don't think you can tie me down with a kid." I knew Liu Ruyan hated the idea of being a housewife, so I explained to her, "I've always followed her rules for birth control strictly. As for this unexpected baby, maybe it's really a gift from fate. Plus, my mom was really sick back then. The old lady wanted to see her grandchild before she passed. I begged her so hard to keep the baby. But Liu Ruyan still took the abortion pill and got rid of the baby. When my mom found out about this, she cried and called me useless, that I couldn't even protect my own child. That same night, she passed away. This hit me really hard. I was depressed for a really long time. Maybe Liu Ruyan felt guilty about it too. That day she came to explain to me out of the blue, I'm swamped with work. The pressure to get promoted is huge. This baby came at the wrong time. Hee-Chang, just wait 1 or 2 more years. We'll have another baby then. We've been married for 5 years. He's been fully focused on his work. I do my best to keep the house in order, so he doesn't have to worry about home stuff. Every corner of this house now was renovated by me all on my own. Liu Ruyan loves shiny things. I specially went to Italy to custom order a handmade crystal chandelier. She hates eating takeout. So I learned to cook by watching short videos. Anniversaries, Kixi Festival, Valentine's Day, and her birthday. I always prepare surprises for all these occasions. But all I got in return were Liu Ruyan's cold, disgusted looks. Hee-Chang, I don't like celebrating these kinds of festivals. You don't have to do all these things. Liu Ruyan said she didn't like posting personal relationship content on WeChat Moments. I have never appeared on her WeChat Moments even once. But tonight I saw Liu Ruyan post a new Moments update. The 2000th day since I met you. How lucky I am. The attached photo showed 2 glasses of red wine clinking, and I spotted on the other person's wrist a Rolex Deep Sea watch. I had seen that exact watch before in Liu Ruyan's shopping history. I thought it was a surprise she prepared for our 5th wedding anniversary. Turns out I was just fooling myself the whole time. It felt like a hand was squeezing my heart tight. I was so suffocated I could barely breathe. Turns out it's not that Liu Ruyan hates posting personal relationships on WeChat Moments. She just didn't want to post anything about me. I sat frozen in the living room, staring down at that Moments post for a long time, until my eyes started to ache, and my nose stung like I was about to cry. Maybe from the very beginning till now, only Qiao Zhenlang can have all of Liu Ruyan's preference and affection. Liu Ruyan and Qiao Zhenlang were childhood sweethearts. She once used 3 thick notebooks to write down all her love for Qiao Zhenlang. Later, Liu Ruyan's father mismanaged his company, and the business went bankrupt. Liu's father jumped off the company building and died, so the Qiao family firmly opposed their relationship. Liu Ruyan was 20 years old that year. She dropped out of school without hesitation. To make money, she worked as a model, washed dishes in restaurants, and even worked as a hostess in bars. Those places are full of all kinds of messy people. Liu Ruyan is very pretty, so naturally people started targeting her pretty quickly. I was heading to the Design Institute to revise some blueprints that day, and I happened to run into Liu Ruyan, stumbling around drunk, looking like she was about to fall any second. Behind her there were a few creepy men waiting for their chance, ready to make a move as soon as she fell. I didn't think twice, and walked straight up to support Liu Ruyan. "Are you okay?"
Do you need me to take you to the hospital?
Right then, a guy pointed at my face and warned me to mind my own business. Liu Ruyan was staring at me warily at first. She was like an injured hedgehog back then, weak and helpless, but still putting up all her spines to protect herself. My heart suddenly softened. "Don't be scared, I'm not a bad guy. I'll take you to the hospital." After we got to the hospital, Liu Ruyan leaned on my shoulder while on IV and cried for a long time. She told me about what happened to her family, and talked about her unfulfilled dreams and regrets. The next day, after Liu Ruyan sobered up, she asked me if I wanted to marry her. It wasn't until many years later that I found out that day was exactly the day Qiao Zhenlang got engaged. I always thought that our reunion and eventual marriage was a fated gift from God. Turns out I was just a backup option she took when she was angry. I stayed up all night. My mind was filled with nothing but every single memory related to Liu Ruyan. Early the next morning, I went to work with 2 puffy red eyes. I thought about it all night and still couldn't figure it out. I wanted to ask Liu Ruyan face to face this morning what exactly I am to her. When I walked to the director's office, Liu Ruyan's male assistant Zhang Chen stopped me. He had a weird, knowing smirk on his face. Team leader he, Vice President Liu, is in a meeting with the general manager inside. "You can't go in." His face full of disdain. I froze for a second. I couldn't help clenching my fists. They were shaking slightly. I held back my surging emotions and asked him, "When will President Liu be free today?" Zhang Chen crossed his arms over his chest, leaning half against the door. "That's going to be tricky. All day today. President Liu has no free time at all. Team leader. I suggest you be smart about this. President Liu belongs to the general manager now. If you just keep quiet and wear that cuckold cap properly, you'll have plenty of chances to get rich and successful later." As soon as he said that, all the people around burst into laughter. Any normal guy who hears words like that can't just stay indifferent. My blood was boiling. I couldn't hold back and punched Zhang Chen directly. "Say that again if you've got the guts." Zhang Chen is all flash and no substance. After taking that punch from me, he fell straight to the ground, slamming into the nearby office desk, making a loud crashing noise. Soon the door to Liu Ruyan's office opened, but it was Qiao Zhenlang who walked out. He frowned and asked Zhang Chen, "What happened to your face? No fighting during work hours." When Zhang Chen heard that question, he immediately looked like he was about to cry, "Mr. Qiao. They're inside talking with President Liu. I told team leader he'd wait first, and go in later." Who knew he'd suddenly raise his fist and hit me? He even knocked out one of my teeth. That's when Liu Ruyan slowly walked out from inside and gave me a reproachful glare. The moment I saw Liu Ruyan, my face turned cold. She's a very decent person, who keeps her poise no matter what the situation is. But today Liu Ruyan's shirt was on inside out. Zhang Chen was right. Liu Ruyan and Qiao Zhenlang really were doing those shameful, unspeakable things in the office. Didn't I say? During the meeting, No unrelated personnel are allowed to enter. When Jiang Chen saw Liu Ruyan, it was like he'd seen his savior. This grown man actually started crying in front of everyone. President Liu, it's all my fault. I couldn't stop team leader He, after all. He's the project team leader, and I'm just a lowly little assistant. Before Liu Ruyan could speak, Qiao Zhenlang looked at me unhappily and let out a cold laugh. A mere team leader has that much authority. How impressive indeed. I cut off their conversation, my gaze landing on Liu Ruyan. We talked about this yesterday. We need to talk. Seeing that Liu Ruyan was still very impatient, I suddenly felt how totally undignified I looked right now. 5 years of marriage. Even if it's going to end, I want to wrap it up properly. Qiao Zhenlang got annoyed, pointed at my nose and was about to yell. Liu Ruyan reached out to stop him. Forget it, Zhenlang. I'll talk to him so he won't come pestering us again later. We went to the coffee shop downstairs. Liu Ruyan told me straight up, the baby will be born in 5 months. I need him to be born with a legitimate status. Let's get a divorce. The hand stirring my coffee suddenly stopped, even though I'd already guessed this would be the outcome. When I actually heard these words from Liu Ruyan's mouth, I still couldn't hold back my tears. Liu Ruyan thought I wasn't willing. She took a card out of her bag. There's 2 million wen in this card. Consider it compensation from me. I lifted my eyes, stared quietly at the card, and suddenly burst out laughing. 5 years of relationship for 2 million wen. I don't know if I'm worth a lot or worth nothing at all. I slowly pushed the card back to her. I don't want it. Liu Ruyan raised her eyebrows in surprise. Ha Chang, you only make 6,000 wen a month. You can't earn this 2 million even if you work for 20 years. Are you sure you don't want it? After getting my definite answer, Liu Ruyan showed a contemptuous look. Sure enough, Zhenlang was right. It's not that you don't want it. You want more? She stroked her belly, leaned back in her seat. Spit it out. What exactly do you want? I didn't answer her question. Instead, I asked her a question. After we get divorced, will Qiao Zhenlang marry you? A trace of anger appeared on Liu Ruyan's face. Of course he will. Zhenlang never had feelings for his wife anyway. He promised me he'll get a divorce. Besides, I'm already carrying the Qiao family's child. His whole family is dying to have a grandson. Seeing her face full of happiness, completely daydreaming about her future happy life, I closed my eyes tightly. I spoke tremblingly, fine. As you wish. After the talk, I went back to the company. I heard my team members whispering.
Did you hear?
President Liu is carrying President Chao's child. Who would have thought? Team leader, he looks like a decent guy. But turns out he's a kept man. Hey, making money these days is nothing to be ashamed of, ha ha ha. I walked straight in. They immediately went quiet. I've never treated my team members badly on regular days. I never expected they'd talk about me like this behind my back. Go on, why did you stop talking? Everyone lowered their heads. No one dared to make a sound anymore. If you fail to meet this month's performance target, don't even think about getting your performance bonus. Just then, someone mumbled something under their breath. You've offended Mr. Chow. Let's see how much longer you can stay as team leader. I walked right up to that person, looked him in the eye, and spoke. If I want to stay here, I'll definitely outlast you at this company no matter what. He caught the hidden meaning in my words and was so scared he kept apologizing. Team leader, I was wrong. Please don't yell at me. The celebration banquet was held that night. All employees of the company attended. I sat below the stage, watching Liu Ruyan shining brightly on the stage. I was filled with all sorts of emotions. Actually, the moment I decided to divorce Liu Ruyan, I already had no plans to stay at this company. After all, I quit my job at the Design Institute to come work at this company back then, just to help her out. Liu Ruyan and I worked well together all these years and helped her win quite a lot of orders. I also successfully helped her gain a firm foothold in the company. I thought my quiet efforts would be noticed by her one day. I never expected this would be the final outcome. Liu Ruyan must have forgotten long ago that, as early as 10 years ago, we had already met each other. That year, I got picked on because I looked like a girl, and a bunch of thugs stopped me in an alley and beat me up. Liu Ruyan suddenly showed up, just like a goddess sent from heaven. She was holding a brick and chased those guys away for me. Why are you crying? They're bullying you, so fight back. The warmth Liu Ruyan gave me back then has stayed with me until now. Today can be considered the last time I'll witness her moment of glory. I went to the bathroom at one point during the banquet and overheard Qiao Zhenlang bragging to someone. What's up, bro? The honey trap works pretty well, doesn't it? I lied to Liu Ruyan saying I still love her, and she's willing to have my baby. You guys have no idea how cheap she is. She even worked as a bar hostess back in the day. Why would I marry a dirty woman like that? I kicked the door open with a loud bang, grabbed him by the collar, slammed him against the wall, and yelled, "You bastard! Liu Ruyan loves you so much. How could you have the heart to let her down?" Qiao Zhenlang saw it was me, got angry, and spat out a curse word. "Heqiang, are you fucking crazy? Your own wife cheated on you, and you're still defending her. Are you a total simp?" Qiao Zhenlang had a lot of friends with him. I couldn't fight off that many people alone. I got pushed to the ground and beaten in no time, as their fists kept hitting my body. I suddenly heard Liu Ruyan's voice. "Stop, what are you all doing?" The second Qiao Zhenlang saw Liu Ruyan coming, he signaled everyone to stop. I couldn't wait to tell her that Qiao Zhenlang was not a good person at all. But all I got was an extremely cold stare from Liu Ruyan. "Enough, Heqiang. I can't believe how petty and malicious you are. I even felt guilty towards you this morning. I never thought you'd keep stirring up trouble between Zhenlang and I." Watching Liu Ruyan's resolute leaving figure, I lowered my head in defeat. "Liu Ruyan, this time I'm the one dumping you." The fight at the celebration banquet spread like wildfire. Someone even took several photos and posted them in all kinds of group chats. I had a minor rib fracture and stayed in the hospital for a few days. During this period, Liu Ruyan didn't call me even once. The day I got discharged from the hospital, I received a notice from the company's HR department about my termination. The HR staff notified me coldly that due to my insufficient work ability, the company decided not to renew my employment. I didn't reply and walked straight into the company, only to get stopped by Zhang Chen at the office entrance. "Team leader, please don't make things hard for me. Mr. Liu said he doesn't want to see you." As soon as he finished saying that, he seemed to remember something and covered his mouth. "Oops. How could I forget? Heqiang, you've already been fired by the company. You're not team leader anymore. Sorry about that. No unrelated personnel are allowed to enter." As he said that, Zhang Chen took out a small paper box. It was full of stuff from my desk. Zhang Chen had that smug, triumphant look on his face. "Take it. I packed everything up for you. Take your stuff and get out of here quickly." He wasn't actually handing me the box out of kindness. The next second, Zhang Chen let go of the box. The paper box fell and hit the ground. "Oh, so sorry. My hand slipped. It's no big deal if I put on a fake smile. Shaky hands from bad kidneys is totally normal." Zhang Chen was stunned by my retort. "Heqiang, who the hell are you saying has bad kidneys?" I didn't bother to respond. I shoved him aside roughly. I marched right up to Liu Ruyan in a huff. She was working on documents at her desk. She didn't look up when she heard the noise. "I know you're unhappy with the company's decision, but you hit Zhenlang. That's an established fact." Liu Ruyan paused for a second and continued. "Anyway, I've done everything I can to help you. You'll get the full compensation payment." I didn't say a single word. I just slammed a resignation letter down on Liu Ruyan's desk. "Cut the crap. I'm here for 3 things today. First, I'm here to resign. I don't care about your compensation. Give it to whoever wants it. Second, keep that loser Qiao Zhenlang for yourself if you like him. I'm not interested in messing with your relationship. Third, I was blind these past 5 years. Let's get a divorce when you have time." Liu Ruyan didn't expect me to be so straightforward. She put down the work she was doing. She looked at me in disbelief. "Heqiang, do you have any idea what you're saying?" "The severance pay is as high as 2N. Are you sure you don't want it?" 2N adds up to tens of thousands of UN. That's really not a small sum of money, but I really don't need it. After finishing the resignation procedures, I stood downstairs of the company and made a call to engineer Zhang, my former colleague at the Design Institute. "The project I recommended to you before, I thought it over carefully. I think we should drop it. This company doesn't have the proper qualifications. There'll be big engineering flaws later." Back when I worked at the Design Institute, I was mainly in charge of engineering design. Because of my outstanding capabilities, I was highly favored by the company's leadership. When I decided to resign 3 years ago, many leaders at the institute were confused. They even offered me a promotion to get me to stay. But I only had Liu Ruyan on my mind and gave up my own career prospects. The day I left the institute, my colleague engineer Zhang even told me firmly, "Heqiang, you're giving up your current position for a woman to go work as a low-level staff at our client's company. That's such a waste of your talent." I was young and arrogant back then. I actually thought love could overcome all difficulties. I thumped my chest and promised all my colleagues that I'd have both a happy family and successful career. But I ended up in this mess now. I really deserved it. But Engineer Zhang could tell something was off from my tone. He asked me like an older brother, "Xiaohe, you don't sound right. Are you unhappy working there? If you want, you can come back to work at the Design Institute. The leaders were talking about you a few days ago. saying you're the best designer in the whole institute. I let out a bitter laugh. At this point, do I even have the right to come back? Engineer Jang didn't hesitate at all. He arranged a dinner gathering for me that very night. He invited all the leaders who appreciated me back then, and all my old colleagues as well. After a few rounds of drinks, I was really sad inside, so I told them everything that had happened. To me recently, all in one go. The more they listened, the angrier they got. They called Liu Ruyan blind for letting go of such a great guy like me and throwing herself at that guy to be his mistress. She'll regret it sooner or later. But as we kept talking, who knows if Liu Ruyan will regret it? I sure as hell regretted it, though. I'm a grown man, but I cried my eyes out. Finally, my old leader made the final decision, told me to sort out my personal family matters first, and come work at the Design Institute next Monday, with the same pay as before, and the same position as before. I was extremely moved. I didn't know what to say. I just picked up the bottle and chugged it directly. It was past 12 a.m. when I got home. I saw the living room light was on as soon as I walked in. Liu Ruyan was sitting on the sofa, angry, questioning me. Where have you been? Why are you back so late? Do you know I've been waiting for you for 2 hours? I'm so hungry, my stomach is growling. I froze for a second when I heard that. Then eat if you're hungry. Can't Chow Jin-lang order takeout for you? Who knew that one sentence? Made Liu Ruyan burst into tears. Hee-chung, you're going too far. I was pretty drunk. I just sat down on the sofa too, and poured myself a glass of water. Liu Ruyan thought I poured it for her. She just reached her hand out. When she saw me bring the glass to my own mouth, her face turned black with anger. Back when we got married, I dote on her like she's a queen. I'd lay out her slippers for her as soon as we get home. I prepare all 3 meals a day according to her preferences, making all kinds of different dishes. Because Liu Ruyan usually has work engagements at night, I'd make sure to prepare a glass of honey water and leave it on the table. I didn't prepare anything for Liu Ruyan tonight. Liu Ruyan was angry for ages by herself, before she finally deigned to speak up. Fine, go make me some late-night snacks, I'm hungry. I lifted my eyes and glanced at her. Liu Ruyan spoke again. Go already. What are you standing there for? Pregnant women can't go hungry, you know? Looking at her entitled expression, I suddenly realized just how ridiculous all my efforts over these years of marriage had been. After hesitating for a moment, I still stood up. Only then did Liu Ruyan's expression soften. She sat on the sofa and continued speaking. It's so late already. Just make some sweet and sour pork, then stir-fry some shredded pork with green peppers. Don't forget to add extra chili. It whets the appetite. But the next second, she noticed I didn't go into the kitchen. I went to the bedroom instead. Liu Ruyan stood up fuming with anger. He Tiang, what do you mean by that? The only response she got was the loud slam of the door. I slept unusually well that night. After deciding to give up on this relationship, I no longer feel anxious over Liu Ruyan's hot and cold attitude towards me, second-guessing everything. I also don't feel heartbroken and suffocated when I see her, being all lovey-dovey with Chow Jin-lang at the office, and stay up all night over it. When I woke up the next day, my head was still throbbing a little. I walked out of the room and saw Liu Ruyan, still sitting in the living room, huffing with anger. But on the coffee table there was already a pile of fried dough sticks and century egg porridge, and she was acting all coy on the phone. Thanks, Jin-lang. All this food you had delivered suits my taste perfectly. But I clearly remembered Liu Ruyan never eats century eggs. After she hung up the phone, she ordered me around like she usually does. Go make me some French toast and sausages in the kitchen, I'm hungry. I suddenly found this a little funny. She still hasn't realized until now that I used to obey her every command. Because I loved her, not because I liked being a doormat. There's so much food on the table, right? Just pick whatever you want to eat. Liu Ruyan didn't expect me to talk back to her like that. She slammed her cup down furiously. He Tiang, are you ever going to get over this? I have a certain trait. I'm extremely stubborn. When I love someone, I'm willing to give everything for them without any regrets. But when I stop loving them, I cut ties immediately. I don't waste time on terrible people and nonsense. You don't have to go to work today, right? Perfect. Let's go get a divorce later. After I finished speaking, I put the signed divorce agreement in front of her. Liu Ruyan was stunned for a moment. She stared fixedly at the divorce agreement. Hee-chang, what trick are you pulling now? You were madly in love with me not long ago. How can you agree to divorce so easily? I nodded. I figured it out. Since you don't love me, let's split up. It's better for both of us. Oh right, I bought this house, and I was in charge of the entire renovation process. So this house belongs to me. Everything else will be handled according to the law. Whatever the rules say goes. After hearing what I said, Liu Ruyan let out a cold sneer. Fine. We'll do it your way. We'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau later. On the way to get the divorce, Liu Ruyan was super irritable the whole time. She was either yelling at other drivers on the road, or yelling at her assistant Zhang Chen over the phone for doing a bad job. Actually, she's in a bad mood right now. Simply because I didn't put up the desperate fight she expected me to put up to save the marriage. Liu Ruyan was used to being treated like a princess by me. She couldn't accept how decisively I gave up all of a sudden. But because of her pride, she couldn't act like she wanted to save the marriage. I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau with her. We split our property, got our divorce certificate. Everything went very calmly. Liu Ruyan, on the other hand, rubbed her belly and spoke with a smug look on her face. My sweet baby, mommy's finally free now. Wait a little longer. Soon I'll let you meet your daddy. I turned around and left, only to hear Liu Ruyan yelling behind me. Hee-chang, we were married once. Where are you going? Let me give you a ride. But the next second, a black Mercedes G-Wagon pulled up right in front of me. Engineer Zhang rolled down the window and winked at me. Hee-chang, this used to be your ride. Looks familiar, huh? I sighed, opened the door and got in. Cut the crap. Hurry back to the Design Institute. The document the boss mentioned, I have to finish it in the next 2 days. Engineer Zhang glanced at me in shock. No way, dude. Are you a total work fiend? It's only your first day back. You already want to outwork us to death. Regarding my return, the whole Design Institute was thrilled. I had just walked through the door when I saw my former junior assistant walking over to hand me some documents. Director He, this project was launched last year, but the higher-ups were never satisfied with our design, so it was put on hold. Now that you're back, the higher-ups specifically asked you to lead the design. I took the documents and nodded calmly. Okay, I'll talk to the boss in the next few days. Director He, lots of construction companies want to invite you to dinner tonight. Should I accept or turn them all down for you? Hearing this, I turned to look at Engineer Zhang. He grinned. The boss thinks highly of you. The moment you decided to come back, he already spread the word that a top talent was returning to our Design Institute. He also listed all the awards you've won before and all the awesome projects you've worked on. He's totally building up your reputation. All the companies that rely on our institute for work, of course, are scrambling to meet you, the legendary top talent of the Design Institute. I actually prefer just focusing on my work. I hate these bootlicking social events. I was just about to say no when I saw a familiar company on the list. I'm very clear about gratitude and grudges. If someone offends me and I don't get back at them, I feel uncomfortable all over. So I took the list and said, sure, I'll go to the dinner tonight. Let me get reacquainted with these companies. That night at Yu Yuan restaurant, I had just walked into the private room when I met the shocked gazes of Chao Jinlang and Liu Ruyan. This dinner tonight was invited by my former company. Of course I came to meet them, but very soon, Liu Ruyan stood up with her pregnant belly and yelled at me. He Tiang, we have a very important dinner tonight. Why did you follow me here? Her male assistant Zhang Chen was quick-witted enough to stand in front of me. He Qiang, we're both men. Have some self-respect, will you? President Liu doesn't love you anymore. What's the point of pestering her like this? Chao Jinlang, in front of the company's other senior executives, let out a cold sneer. Love? What love? I bet he regrets the divorce. Got too little in the split and came here to beg for money. As he said that, he threw his checkbook on the table and asked me arrogantly, Hey, speak up. How much money do you want? I'll give it to you right now. Take the check and get the hell out of here. Liu Ruyan's face looked very unhappy. Everyone else at the table rushed to flatter Chao Jinlang. President Chao is so generous. Such a big heart. No comparison to some petty people out there. Just as they were about to kick me out of the room, Engineer Zhang walked in too. The second Chao Jinlang saw him, he immediately stood up to greet him. Hello, Engineer Zhang. Hello. Wait a minute. Why are you here alone? Where's the new top talent from the Design Institute? Engineer Zhang was stunned for a second, then pointed at me. Who else would it be? Hee-chang, what are you standing there for? Take a seat quick. Of everyone at this table today, you're the main guest. As soon as he said that, everyone was shocked, speechless. Liu Ruyan even asked out loud in disbelief. Hee-xiu is the highly paid top talent the Design Institute hired. That's impossible. Engineer Zhang didn't notice the weird atmosphere and even poured me a glass of wine. Why is that impossible? Hee-chang was originally our Design Institute's most outstanding designer. The boss thought extremely highly of him back then. He had an incredibly bright future ahead of him. Speaking of this, Engineer Zhang got all pissed off. Who knew this idiot would throw it all away for a woman? Gave up his job at the Design Institute. went to work as an employee at some rinky-dink contractor company. And guess what happened next? That blind fool of a wife of his ended up cheating on him with a married man and got pregnant with another guy's kid. Everyone at the table looked at each other and went dead silent. Finally, Engineer Zhang asked a question. Is this woman totally blind or what? All those executives' faces turned green, but they could only agree with him. Yeah, totally. This kind of woman is just plain rotten. I calmly picked up my chopsticks to grab a piece of meat and put it in my mouth. I didn't bother looking at Liu Ruyan's stiff face. This meal was so awkward it was almost painful. At one point, Zhang Chen wanted to toast me. Director He, you're such a promising young talent. Let me toast you. It's a toast at a dinner table, right? You should at least save the person some face. But I really couldn't bring myself to drink this toast. I forced a fake smile. No, I think I'll pass. A toast from you, President Zhang. I really don't dare to drink it. Only then did Engineer Zhang realize something was off. He mouthed a question at me. You two got beef? I put down my wine glass. I twisted my mouth into a cold sneer. That pregnant woman over there is my ex-wife, you know? The guy next to her is the one she cheated on me with. Engineer Zhang's jaw dropped in shock. Holy crap, that's her side dude. As soon as he said that, everyone present lowered their heads, afraid to say a word. Qiao Zhenlang gripped his cup tightly. It took him ages to hold down his anger. He stood up and put on a big smile. Director He, what happened before was our fault. I'll drink 3 glasses as punishment. Be the bigger person. Please don't hold this against me. With that, he tilted his head back and chugged the whole glass in one go. A company CEO apologizing to me in public is already a huge blow to his pride. But I still hadn't gotten my revenge yet. I gave a half smirk. That's not right, President Xiao. At the celebration banquet, the part where you had someone beat me up can't just be fixed by you drinking a few glasses, right? Engineer Zhang couldn't sit still anymore. He slammed his hand on the table. Holy crap, the side dude beats the rightful husband. That's so freaking arrogant. Qiao Zhenlang clenched his teeth and stared at me furiously. It took him a long time to put down his glass. We had some misunderstanding before. That's why we got into a fight. Since you still hold a grudge, Director He, I'll slap myself a few times. Hopefully that'll make you feel better. With that, Qiao Zhenlang actually slapped himself across the face. The loud, crisp slaps sounded extra awkward in the private room. Liu Ruyan's eyes turned red, and she stared at me with pure hatred in her eyes. That's enough. She suddenly slammed the table and stood up. He-chang, we came here today to discuss cooperation, not to be humiliated by you. Qiao Zhenlang didn't stop what he was doing and gave her a cold glare. Liu Ruyan, sit down right now. How dare you talk to Director He like that? Most of our company's contracts rely on cooperation with the Design Institute. Of course, he didn't dare to offend me. After being yelled at, Liu Ruyan felt super wronged. She covered her mouth and ran out the door. But Qiao Zhenlang didn't give a damn about her. Ignore her, Director He. Let's keep eating and drinking. If you're still not satisfied, I'll keep slapping myself. I never intended to humiliate anyone. At this point, it's just an eye for an eye. But not long after Liu Ruyan ran out, there was a scream from outside. Oh my God, some pregnant woman fell down. There's so much blood. I frowned and immediately wanted to go check it out. But Qiao Zhenlang spoke up disdainfully. Ignore her, Director He. She's definitely pulling another stunt, trying to get attention. Let's keep eating and drinking. I still stood up and walked outside. I didn't do this because I still have feelings for Liu Ruyan. It's just the basic decency any normal person has. Even if a random pregnant woman fell on the ground, there's no way I'd just sit calmly in the private room eating. After Engineer Zhang ran out with me, we saw Liu Ruyan lying on the ground with a huge pool of blood under her. A lot of people were standing around her, but no one dared to step forward. Zhenlang, save me. Liu Ruyan was terrified. She begged Qiao Zhenlang through sobs to take her to the hospital. But Qiao Zhenlang thought it was humiliating. He even started yelling at her. What the hell is wrong with you? You made a fool of yourself falling like that in public. You're such an embarrassment. Liu Ruyan was lying on the ground, covered in blood all over. Eventually, I called 120 and got her into the ambulance. But we got her there a little too late. By the time we arrived at the hospital, the baby couldn't be saved. It was a 5-month-old fetus after all. They had to perform an induced labor, but she had massive bleeding during the surgery. In the end, Liu Ruyan had to have her uterus removed. From that day on, she could never have children again. When Liu Ruyan woke up, she touched her empty belly and broke down crying. My baby? My baby? Seeing her in such agony, I suddenly remembered how, a year ago, Liu Ruyan had a cold, indifferent look when she took the abortion pill. She's been admitted to the hospital. So there's nothing left for me to do here. But just as I turned to leave, Liu Ruyan asked me a question. Did Zhenlang come to see me? I kept a straight face and said no. Then I turned and walked out of the ward. Behind me, Liu Ruyan was sobbing uncontrollably. I'm sorry. I froze mid-step. I heard Liu Ruyan speaking to me from behind. Hee-chang, I'm so sorry. No matter what terrible things Liu Ruyan did to me in the past, no matter how badly she hurt me, as long as she cried and apologized to me, I would soften up and forgive her. But this time, I just said calmly, I paid the medical bills for you in advance. It's a little over 6,000 yen total. Remember to transfer the money back to me. The word sorry doesn't count as a real apology. An apology only counts when she's in as much pain as I was. Of course, the partnership with Chao Zhenlang fell through. His company lost a huge contract. Chao Zhenlang threw tantrums at the office all day long. The first one to bear the brunt was his male assistant, Zhang Chen. He made a tiny mistake. And once Chao Zhenlang got hold of that, he chewed him out viciously, then fired him. Zhang Chen didn't want to leave. He even went to beg Liu Ruyan for help. As a result, not only did Zhang Chen still get fired, Liu Ruyan also got demoted as well. She went from the highly respected Vice President Liu to that tiny little project team lead position I used to have. A former coworker came to tell me on purpose. Now that Liu Ruyan has no power or status, everyone at the company dislikes her. They constantly make trouble for her on purpose. As for Chao Zhenlang, of course he pulled the same old tricks again. He quickly started fooling around with the young girls at the company again. And soon enough, there was another new pregnant woman at the company. Liu Ruyan couldn't accept this. She went to pick fights with Chao Zhenlang multiple times. She demanded he get a divorce and marry her. But all she got in return was a look of disgust from Chao Zhenlang. One day I was out to discuss a project, and while I was waiting at a red light, I passed by the Chao Group building. I saw a huge fight breaking out. Right in front of their company entrance, Liu Ruyan was being scratched and beaten by a group of women. They called her a homewrecker for seducing someone else's husband, and said she had no shame at all. Liu Ruyan still stubbornly argued that she and Chao Zhenlang were childhood sweethearts, and their love was real. Then the legal wife slapped her hard across the face. After they were done beating her, the wife left with her people. Liu Ruyan was left lying on the ground, like a piece of trash. She was crying her heart out, absolutely devastated. But the second she lifted her eyes, she locked gazes with me. Just then, the red light turned green. The car started moving, and I slowly rolled up the car window. I didn't look at Liu Ruyan's face again. That same night, the video of Liu Ruyan getting beaten was posted online. She was yelling loudly in the video. The one who isn't loved is the real mistress. That statement enraged everyone who saw it. Netizens all attacked and condemned her online, calling her the most shameless mistress ever. But Liu Ruyan held onto her 3 diaries, which were filled with all her feelings of love for Chao Zhenlang. The wife tore all of them into tiny pieces. Finally, Chao Zhenlang spoke to her directly on camera. Liu Ruyan, stop living in a fantasy. You think I'd ever marry a broke, powerless woman like you? I only messed around with you so you'd work yourself to death for the company, and maybe have a baby for my wife and I. Do you actually think you're something special? On top of that, Chao Zhenlang also posted Liu Ruyan's private photos online. Overnight, Liu Ruyan was completely disgraced. The next time I saw Liu Ruyan, it was already 2 months later. I had just come back from an overseas seminar. When I just got to my door, I saw a thin figure slumping by the entrance. At first, I thought it was a beggar. Hey, do you want me to call the police for you? But when she looked up and called my name, I was still stunned for a second. Liu Ruyan used to be confident and bright. She was always full of drive. Now her eyes are completely lifeless. He-tiang, I regret it so much. Now I finally realize. You're the only one in the world who truly loves me. She grabbed at my pants leg. Can we go back to how we used to be? Back to those loving days we shared before. He-chang, I can't live without you. I tugged at my tie. I sighed and said sorry. But I'm already used to living without you. Just then, a girl's voice came from behind me. He-chang, for tomorrow's meeting. Which dress should I wear? The female assistant who used to follow and admire me is now my girlfriend. The moment Liu Ruyan saw her, her body trembled violently. How could you get a new girlfriend so fast? He-chang, didn't you say you loved me the most? Liu Ruyan broke down crying loudly, which scared my girl so much she kept hiding behind me. He-chang, who is she? I shielded her and walked into the apartment. The second I closed the door, I said, nobody. Just a lunatic. The girl was still shaken up. She doesn't seem mentally stable. Maybe we should call the police. Is she hungry? Should we get her something to eat? I gently stroked her hair. No need, she'll be gone by tomorrow morning. the moment the door clicked shut. Liu Ruyan's cries behind the door felt like they were sealed off in another world, muffled and faint, but they didn't stir a single ripple in my heart anymore. The girl gripped my sleeve tightly. Her eyes were full of worry and a little bit of cautiousness. Hee-chang, is she really going to be okay? What if she stays at the door forever? I reached out and rubbed her hair. My tone was softer than ever before. This girl's name is Su Xiao. She used to be my junior assistant at the Design Institute. She's soft-tempered but surprisingly level-headed. When I quit my job for Liu Ruyan back then, she tried to talk me out of it a few times in private, but never pushed the topic. She just wished me well silently. Now that I came back in such a mess, she didn't look down on me at all. She's still just like she used to be, quietly staying by my side, helping me organize documents, and listening to me vent about my troubles. Don't worry, she'll leave once she's done making a scene. I led her to the sofa and sat down. I poured her a glass of warm water. I was so stupid before. I threw my true heart to the dogs. From now on, I won't let anyone disturb our lives. Su Xiao nodded hard. There was a faint glimmer in her eyes. She gently held my hand. I trust you. No matter what happens, I'll always stay with you. That night, Liu Ruyan really didn't cause any more trouble. Only a few suppressed sobs came from outside the door occasionally. They didn't fade away until the middle of the night. Early the next morning, I opened the door. The doorway was completely empty. Only a patch of dried tear stains was left, and a crumpled notebook. It was the only one of Liu Ruyan's 3 diaries that wasn't torn up by Qiao Zhenlang's wife. The cover read, "To my dearest Zhenlang." The handwriting was neat and graceful, but carried a hint of paranoid humbleness. I bent down to pick up the notebook. I flipped through a couple of pages casually. It was full of her adoration and longing for Qiao Zhenlang, from her teenage crush, to her longing after her family fell on hard times, then to the ecstasy after they reunited. There wasn't a single mention of me anywhere, so in these 5 years of marriage, I was just her fallback the whole time. When she wanted to escape reality and settle out of spite, I was the safe haven she ran to. When she got hurt by Qiao Zhenlang, I let out a cold laugh and threw the notebook into the trash can. All my past obsessions, all my past deep feelings, along with this ridiculous diary, should be completely left in the past. Su Xiao walked over with breakfast, saw what I just did, and didn't ask any more questions. She just said softly, "Breakfast is ready. We have a meeting at the Design Institute today. We can't be late." When we arrived at the Design Institute, I quickly got into work mode, relying on my solid professional competence and previous project experience. The long-shelved project I took over soon made a major breakthrough. My boss sang high praise for me. He commended me many times during meetings, saying I was the rock of the Design Institute. My colleagues also enjoyed working with me. The previous rifts and distance between us were long gone. Meanwhile, news about Liu Ruyan also reached my ears on and off. It was said that after she left my place that day, she went to look for Qiao Zhenlang again. But Qiao Zhenlang not only refused to see her, he even asked security to stop her outside the company. She was not ready to give up, so she squatted at the company entrance for a whole day, exposed to the sun and rain, until she passed out from exhaustion. She was sent to hospital by passers-by. She still didn't give up after getting discharged, and asked around for information about Qiao Zhenlang. She even went to Qiao Zhenlang's home to stalk him, only to be caught by Qiao Zhenlang's wife, who had people humiliate her badly, and she was even taken to the police station. After this whole incident, Liu Ruyan became a total laughingstock in the circle. People pointed fingers at her wherever she went, calling her shameless, saying she deserved it. What's even worse, after her company found out about all her misdeeds, they fired her right away. She had no job, no savings, no kid, and no protection from Qiao Zhenlang anymore. Liu Ruyan's life was a total mess. She sold all the valuable jewelry she had and rented a tiny, shabby room to live in. She made ends meet by doing odd jobs every day. The once glamorous, confident, and capable Vice President Liu had turned into a destitute woman everyone avoided. Once I went grocery shopping at the supermarket with Su Xiao, and I saw Liu Ruyan at the entrance by chance. She was wearing old clothes washed so much they faded. Her hair was messy. Her face was sallow. She was squatting on the ground, picking up rotten vegetable leaves others threw away to eat. She also had a faint smell of cooking oil on her. I heard she washed dishes at a small nearby restaurant, working over 10 hours a day, but only getting paid very little. When Su Xiao saw her, she squeezed my hand subconsciously and whispered, "Is that Sister Liu? How did she end up like this?" I looked in the direction she was pointing, and felt nothing at all in my heart. It was like I was looking at a total stranger. Liu Ruyan also looked up. and our eyes met right then. Her expression turned complicated immediately, mixed with shame and reluctance, and a faint, unnoticeable plea in her eyes. She struggled to stand up, trying to walk towards us, but after just 2 steps, she stopped again. She lowered her head, her shoulders trembling slightly. I didn't walk up to her, and didn't say anything either. I just held Su Xiao's hand and turned into the supermarket. Su Xiao glanced back at her and said softly, "He-Chang, do you think she's very pitiful?" "Those who are pitiful must have done hateful things," I answered in a low voice, my tone calm. "She chose this miserable life all by herself. Back then, she destroyed our marriage with her own hands. She aborted our baby herself and pushed away the person who truly loved her. The fate she's suffering now is just the cycle of cause and effect. She brought it on herself."
Su Xiao nodded
and didn't say anything else. She just held my hand even tighter. Days passed by. My relationship with Su Xiao got better and better. I was no longer the old He-Chang who revolved around Liu Ruyan, always worried about gaining or losing her love. Instead, I found myself again and became confident, calm, and steady. I would take Su Xiao to watch movies, walk in the park, and eat the snacks she likes. I remember her birthday, remember all our anniversaries, and prepare little surprises for her. When she runs into difficulties at work, I will help her analyze the problem patiently and solve it with her together. The Design Institute's project progressed smoothly and was completed successfully very soon. It received high recognition from the client. My boss specially promoted me and gave me a raise, appointing me as the deputy chief engineer of the institute. He also assigned me an independent office. My life finally got rid of the shadow of the past and welcomed the bright future that belongs to me. Liu Ruyan never appeared in my life again, until one day, a former colleague from my old company mentioned her to me by chance, saying Liu Ruyan left the city later, went to a small county where no one knew her. I heard she landed herself a job as a sanitation worker. She works from dawn to dusk, cleaning the streets every day. Her life is poor but peaceful. Some people also said they spotted Chao Jinlang with his new fling vacationing at a resort out of town. Chao Jinlang treated that new fling just as he treated Liu Ruyan back then, gentle, thoughtful, and doted on her wholeheartedly. I just can't help wondering if that new fling will end up being the next Liu Ruyan and suffer the same fate as she did. Listening to all this news, I didn't feel a single ripple in my heart. Whether it's Chao Jinlang or Liu Ruyan, nothing about them concerns me anymore. All I know is that my life right now is really happy. I have my loved one by my side. I have a career I'm passionate about, and real friends who care about me. That's more than enough. It was a late autumn evening. I held Su Xiao's hand as we walked along the riverside path. The evening breeze was soft and cool. It blew her long hair and blew away the last bit of lingering haze from the past. Su Xiao leaned on my shoulder and said softly, "He-Chang, thank goodness you're back. Thank goodness we didn't let each other go." I leaned down to her forehead and pressed a soft kiss there. I whispered back, "It's not that we never missed the chance. It's that I finally snapped out of my stupid daze and finally learned to cherish what's right in front of me. For the rest of our lives, through good times and bad, I'll always be right by your side. We'll never be apart ever again." The setting sun in the distance dyed half the sky red. The golden afterglow fell all over us, warm and bright. I know all those ridiculous, painful, cringeworthy memories from the past are all in the past now. From now on, I only have Su Xiao in my eyes, only our future, and only endless tenderness and joy. Liu Ruyan probably never figured out even at the very end. Love isn't about groveling to please someone. It isn't some stubborn obsession. It isn't a backup you use when you're mad at someone. It's mutual respect, mutual care, and sticking together. She destroyed her own happiness with her own 2 hands and pushed away the only person who ever truly cared about her. By the time she finally realized what she'd done, it was already way too late. As for me, after going through betrayal and heartbreak, I finally got out of that dark place, found myself again, and met someone who knows how to value me. From now on, every breeze holds promise. All the past is just a prologue. With all my joy and love in my heart, I'll walk hand in hand with Su Xiao toward all our years to come. May we have peace every single year.